Tell me about your life being a gang member. So I did my homework. You were saying that right from your childhood, your only dream was to become a gang member because your family was almost all gang members, right?
Yeah.
But how so?
How what?
Your mom was in a...
Not my mother, just the men. Just like my father, my uncles, my cousins, my brothers.
And what did your mom say? She was okay with that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think my dad was. I don't know. But my mom was never into that. And then Latino mothers are like that. They don't want to see the bad in their children and all that. So she never knew. I don't know. I guess she didn't want to see it because she didn't. I remember when the cops raided my house when I first went to jail. They raided my house for the 4 shootings and like that. I was 16 years old. And I remember my mother fighting with the cops because they were like, oh, we're arresting your son for these shootings, this and that gangs. And my mom was fighting with the cops. My son ain't no gang member. My son ain't in no gangs and all that, wah, wah, wah. She was fighting with the cops. And then the cop lifted up my shirt and I had a big old tattoo of my gang on my back. So she looked and she felt stupid. But
she really didn't know.
She was in denial. I guess denial. That's the only thing I could think of is that she was in denial because she knew, and then my father didn't know because he wouldn't have let us. My father wouldn't have let us be in gangs and all that. But so what we would do is my dad would be at work all day, and me and my brother would dress all in gangs. But then we'd go to school and all that all day. But then we would run home before my dad got off of work, and we would change. So he never seen us that we were bad because my dad used to whip us. Like he used to beat us, you know what I mean? So we were scared of my dad. We were scared. So we never did nothing around him. But my mother used to see. So she would see it. She would buy us the gang clothes and she would see us dressing gangs and coming home and changing all that. And then plus...
But she thought that was a joke? You were just imitating?
She just didn't want us to get, I don't know what it was. And then we used to be getting in trouble at school. We'd be fighting at school or like doing things, get arrested or whatever things. And she wouldn't tell my dad because she didn't want my dad to hit us or whatever. So she wouldn't tell my dad that, hey, the kids are doing.
Do you think that was a mistake?
Yeah, it was a mistake because by the time my dad found out, it was way too late. It was like we were already too full-blown gone by the time my dad found out. And then once he found out, because he was in gang and he knew all my I think my older cousins and all that, they tried to talk with my dad and they told my dad, hey, they're already in the gang and all that. So he knew it was
But you
too
were
late.
in the same gang with your dad?
Yeah, we were in the same gang.
So back to the 90s, how many gangs there were in LA?
Can't even
Dozens.
Hundreds. There are so many.
And what did you do? You just steal? You just sell drugs?
Mostly I was for girls. Like, because I remember I used to be a skinny little twerp. I was so skinny little kid. I never really had no girls or nothing like that. But as soon as I got into the gang, I got a bunch of girls. I was popular. So that was like that. And then you get an identity. Like I was a nothing little scrawny little kid.
You belong
but as soon as I got in the gang, I was so and so and so. And then I had a bunch of homeboys, big, crazy guys and all like that. So I liked it that I was a scrawny little kid, but nobody, like I tell the story that I remember my earliest moments. I was in school, right? I was a scrawny little freshman kid, skinny little kid. And there were some big seniors. And they were football jocks, big guys, and they're seniors. And I'm right there, I'm talking to one of my girls, a homegirl, and she started telling something to those guys, right? So they were like, what? And they told her something. And then I remember I started telling them stuff. And they were scared. They're like, like they put their head down. They were scared to tell me something. They were big jocks.
Those were players. Whites or Latinos?
They were probably Latinos, maybe, or where, but they knew I was a gang member.
I gotcha.
So they were scared, not of me, but my homeboys, and they knew or whatever. So, and I remember I felt that day, I was like, wow, I'm a little scrawny little kid, freshman, and these big jock football guys, seniors, are scared of me. So I liked that. And then just seeing on the streets and everywhere people were scared, So I liked it like
You got
that.
the respect.
But in my hood, I don't know, I guess all hoods were different, but in my neighborhood, the people liked it, the gangs, you might say, because we were almost like police officers, because we would protect my neighborhood. And then the people in my neighborhood, they knew us all since we were kids. We were all playing out there football, baseball, so they knew us since we were kids. And then, so like I said, they knew us, but then we would protect my neighborhood. We wouldn't let people come and rob or
Other gang members?
Yeah, other gang or anybody. If we wouldn't, if we seen somebody trying to steal or break into a car, we would stop them. Like, hey, don't be doing that around in our like. So we would. So they would actually. A lot of the people would like us, and they would even like talk to us and things like that. So, but yeah, we would mostly be like that. But we'd fight with our rival gangs, like our enemies. We would. Do stuff with them, and then do stuff to us. It's always a revolving door. Like they'll kill one of my homeboys. So
Kill?
They'll kill one of. They killed so many of my friends. Got killed.
At what age did you see the first dead body?
Jeez, that's a good question. I don't even know.
But you were a youngster, right?
Yeah.
16, something like that?
Yeah. I don't know. Pretty young, probably like 17.
Was it shocking?
Yeah. Because most of that would, because but we would get shot at all the time. Like, literally, like every weekend, we would know we're going to get shot at. We would know that our enemies, they would come, and it would always, the most danger part would be like, let's say we went to a party, me and my brother or whatever, we went to a party or wherever we went, the walk home, the night, because we knew we had to walk home. And when you were in a gang in those days, every single car that drove by was a potential, your life, or my potential would be my enemy. So we would always be walking home, and my enemies, then they was boom.
So basically, what they show us in the movies, that's true.
It was true. In the 90s, it was. In the 90s, all that stuff you've seen, it was probably even worse than you've seen in movies, actually.
But what were you fighting for? Just because of the territory?
Yeah, the territory, the gangs, yeah, like, so
But
like.
what the territory meant to you? What you were doing in that territory? Selling drugs? How did you earn money as a gang?
People, they sell drugs. Like, I wasn't never too much into selling drugs and all that. I was like a soldier. I was like a soldier putting in work against my enemies. Like, I would go get them, shoot at them, or beat them up, or chase them, or do that kind of stuff. Because like I always thought, people think that once somebody's in a gang that they're so bad, but there's not. There's a bunch of guys in gangs that maybe never did a shooting or never did anything when they're in the gang. Not every guy. There's gang members, and then there's gang bangers. The gang bangers are the ones, the crazy ones, the ones you see out, shootings and all that kinds of stuff. And then there's some guys that they're in the gang and they just hang out. They just hang out, drinking, hanging out, or they grew up in the neighborhood, so they're just around. And then a lot of guys, they settle down. They'll get married, and they'll have kids and stuff, so they're not active, but they're from the gang. They hang out once in a while and stuff like that. But the gang bangers, those are the ones that are all in jail all the time, and they're.
But once you get to the gang, you become you run errands.
It just depends on you. Like,
you can become a banger right away.
What'd you say?
You can become a banger right away.
It's up to you what you want to do, and like that's just how crazy you are. Like I said, some guys are not at all. They never did a shooting. But like to my gang, the more things that you did, the more stripes you would get. So that would, like, your respect would be like so. And then my gang, when I got in, I was like one of the youngest, and there was so many crazy older guys doing so much things. So I was always trying to earn my own, because I'm like a scrawny little kid, and I'm right here with all these crazy guys, and they're doing crazy stuff. So I was always trying to prove myself to them. So I would volunteering and wanting to. It's kind of good that I didn't when I was young like that. I didn't really have too many guns when I first got in, which is good, because I would have even been doing more stuff like that. And like my family was notorious because I grew up from La Puente, California. My family was like notorious family around for gangs. Even like police, everybody used to know my family was notorious. So that was even more so I was trying to
keep up,
earn my own stuff, do my own stuff like that.
Was your dad a role model too?
Yeah, I respected him. Feared him. We feared my dad because he was crazy and big, and so we were. I feared him, but yeah, we respected him. That's why I said we never were doing none of that stuff around him. So he didn't until it was too late. What
does it mean, too late? You did some stuff and you can get out?
We were just so much grounded into it that nobody was gonna make me get out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter what he told me or whatever, I was not gonna get out of the gang. Or like, I was just so far entrenched in it that even going to jail, because I'm risking my life or whatever it might be, I was not gonna leave my gang no matter what. You know? So that's what I mean. It was just so entrenched that they knew that, and then one time my house got shot up. So that was how my dad knew at the beginning too, is because imagine he didn't, like, say your son grows up or whatever, you never knew, you're just thinking that your son is a normal little son, and then one day your house got shot up. So you're like, what the heck? Why is my dad was like, why are they shooting up my house?
Yeah.
And it was because of, so then he knew we were into gangs. That's when he knew. And then I remember, because there's like a crazy story, because I remember I was asleep in here's my bedroom window, right? And I'm asleep, and my bed was right in front of the window, in front of the house. So they're shooting at my house and stuff, and I was half asleep. So I sit up on my bed and I look out the window and I see guys in my front yards, but I thought they were my homeboys because I was half asleep. So I thought it was my older brother with my homeboy. So I'm looking out there, and one of them resembled my brother because he was tall and skinny and like that. So I was like thinking, what is my brother and my homeboys doing out? So I'm looking at them, and they see me, and they're like, oh, look, whatever. So they look, and the guy looks at me, and he puts the gun right to my head. And he has a rifle, and he's like aiming it, and he's shooting it. And I'm still half asleep, and the guns, he's trying to shoot it, and he's like, it's jammed, it's not working. So then when he put the gun down, I'm still right there like a dummy until I woke up like, and I jumped, boom, and I went on the floor, and then my mother's walking down the hallway, and she's like half asleep. My mother's like, what's going on? I guess she heard like noises or something. So my mom, and I tell my mom, get down. They're shooting up the house. And then as soon as I went like right to the hallway, my older brother comes running out in his boxers. He's like, what's going on? I told him they're shooting up the house. So he immediately starts running out the front door. So I run out, and they're driving away. So we got to see all the guys. So their car's like driving away, and we're chasing after the car, and our boxers, me and my brother, so the car's driving away, and they're like, flipping us off and stuff, and they're driving away, and me and my brother are chasing them. So my dad knew, he knew that we were into gangs, and he wanted me, because my mother, I told them what happened. The guys, and I explained to my mom that what had happened. So when the cops came, my dad told me, my mom was like, tell them what happened, Jesse, you've seen the guys and all that. But I wouldn't say nothing to the cops. So the cops were mad, and they were like, and they're getting the bullets out of my house and my front door and all that. They're doing all their like stuff. And my dad was like, tell them what happened. And I said, I can't tell them. And he's like, well. So my dad like put me in the room. My dad was big. He took me in the room. He's like, I'm gonna beat you up right now unless you tell the cops what happened. And then I was like, I ain't going to. Do what you got to do then, because I'm not going to say. And he said, you're choosing your friends in that over your family? Because they almost were like trying to shoot at my little brother's windows. And then I was like, I can't say nothing, because if I ever go to jail, they'll get me in there. So then I was like, oh, I guess he thought about it, like, yeah, that's true. So then he left me alone, but it was too late. That was when he found out. It was like I said, it was too late. We were already in.
Yeah, but your dad was a hypocrite. He was a gang member as well, and
But yeah, he was earlier.
he was preaching you to not become one.
Yeah, but he was in a gang, but when we were real young. But then when I started getting into my like teen years, he wasn't anymore.
Oh, I got you.
He was just working, good job, and he was nothing into gang. He actually didn't like that stuff. Like, so my other cousins and that were still active, he would argue with them and like, he didn't want that. Don't bring that around my sons. And like, you know what I mean? If he's seen us hanging out with my, because he knew they were gang related.
I got you.
So he would tell them, hey, don't be getting my sons into that or whatever. So he was against, he wouldn't.
He transformed some kind of.
Yeah, he wasn't into no more.
What's the worst thing that you saw during a gang member?
Just shootings and like that, people getting shot and things like that.
A lot of them?
My whole time being in the game,
Yeah.
I seen some guy get beaten to death.
Literally?
Literally. I went to a meeting. I can't really even talk about the meeting because it was for like the Mexican mafia kind of things like that. Like I wasn't from there or nothing, but there was like a big meeting and of all the gangs were there. They had like the representatives from all the gangs there, and some guys were messed up or whatever, so they started beating them up, and so I just seen them beating the heck out of guys, but then
For what?
later.
Do you know for what?
They were just beating them up for I don't even know what, for what, if they messed up any little thing, and then but I seen them beating this guy. They're from Inglewood, this gang, and they're beating them. They told them, you guys messed up. So you guys, there was like 5 of them there. They go, so all 5 of you guys are gonna get beat up right now. So they were beating those guys up really bad. I never seen nothing like. I've seen people get jumped. I've been jumped my own self a bunch of times. I've jumped a bunch of people, but I've never seen people get beat like how they were beating people that day. And then I later heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that one of those guys died from how bad they beat him. That was probably, I think, the ugliest thing I seen.
Was that scary?
I wasn't scared. I was just ugly. It was just like ugly to see that. I was like,
What people don't realize about gangs? Maybe something very obvious, but people still don't realize it.
Well, like I said, people think bad and all that, but gangs mostly, they won't do nothing to you. They mostly are only, like me, I would have never, only after our other gang members, like only their rival enemies. You know what I mean? Maybe if you piss them off or you do something to something, then yeah, they're gonna probably beat you up or something could happen to you. But like me, I was a regular kid or whatever. I would have only after my enemies.
But you never questioned why do you have to hate those guys from the other gangs?
No, most of the stuff were like old stories, or they just told us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how stupid it is that most of the guys don't even know why.
Yeah, that's absurd.
They're fighting, but you're hating those guys. You want to kill those guys.
And it's Latinos versus Latinos, right?
And then it was so stupid because when you go to jail, you have to get along. Like, I don't know if you know, this is called sureños. You ever heard of that? Sureños or norteños?
No, what's that?
Well, that's like all the southern Hispanics from like Bakersfield down. They're all called sureños. It's 13 sureños. And the ones from Northern Cali, they're called norteños. And they fight the North against the South. That's like all the prisons that you hear about, all the stuff. It's mostly the North and the South. We fight. All the gangs from over here, we're united. So we're in prison. They're together.
I got you.
They're called sureños. So
you fight in a city between each other, amongst each other. Then you go to the jail. You team up
together
to fight those.
Against the blacks. Like it'll be the blacks, the whites, and then the sureños, us, and then up north they have the norteños and then the Crips Bloods or whatever like that. But we're together. So that's why I was like, all these guys, your worst enemies and all that, they're killing each other, but then they go to jail and they have to hang out with the same guys. That's why I was like, I can imagine all this. Imagine if I was doing life in jail for murder or something like that, and then I'm in here and I'm kicking it with the same gang guys that I'm in there. So I threw my life away.
That's why
for
you got
nothing.
here in the first place.
And I'm in here. So I used to kind of almost used to get into trouble because I didn't do that. When I was in prison, I would say, nah, I ain't going to kick it with my enemies. I won't do that. And the guys used to tell me, what? You can't do that in here in prison, and that you have to get on. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get along with them. I'm not going to fight with them. If something happens to them, I'll help them or something like that. But I won't hang out with them, because why would I hang out with them when if I see them on the streets, I'm going to get them? And I used to tell them, I'm still active. I'm an active gang member. So when I get out, I'm going to be active. And I say, plus, he shouldn't want to hang out with me because I did stuff. I shot at his homeboys and all that. So why would he want to hang out with me? But I used to just always know. That's why all the gang stuff and all that, it's stupid, like I said, because they're in there fighting with all their enemies on the streets. But then as soon as if they go to jail, they have to kick it with all their enemies. So it makes no sense.
So who ruled the 90s LA? For instance, there were some areas of influence. The blacks here, Hispanics there, Latinos there, whites here. Was that like that?
Oh, there's not that many whites. They didn't have no gangs or nothing like that. But yeah, they have areas like, there's certain Latino areas, like my area, La Puente, like all that was Latino. And then, but there's like Compton and Watts, South Central, that's where there's a lot of blacks. So over there, the Crips and Bloods are fighting right there. But then they even fight with, some Latino gangs fight with some of those. But some certain areas are like, in some areas, the blacks and Latinos fight with each other. Like that's what depends where you're at. Like so, like El Monte, La Puente, like even right where we're at, it's like Latinos, if anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then like in Glendale, there's some Armenians over there.
Yes.
So there's an Armenian gang. They're Sureños though. They kick it with the Mexicans. Like how we said the Sureños, the Armenians are Sureños. They're 13.
Yes.
They're like with us. But it just depends where you're at. Different.
What was jail like? It was worse than you thought, better than you thought?
It was worse than I thought in those days. Like I said, everything I keep saying in those days.
From your experience,
because it's not like that no more. But when I went up in the early 90s, because I went to the youth authority, even in the juvenile hall, man, like when I was in juvenile hall, they used to make us fight, bro. Like the guy who run the unit where I was at, we would all know, like, when all the new guys would come in, they would tell us, everybody go down to your rooms. So we would go down to our rooms, and then we would listen. If your name was called, like, we'd be sitting in our room, like, if they call my name, that means one of my enemies is out there, so I'm going to have to go out there and fight. So we would be in our room, and if they call my name, Holguin, then I'll know. So I'll go out there, and there'll be a guy standing right there with the guy, with the cop guy, whatever, and he'll be like, tell him where you're from. And the guy would tell me, whatever, and I'll tell them mine. So they'll be like, all right, you guys go in the day room, and you guys fight right there.
That's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so they'll make us fight. So we
They,
fight.
you mean the guards?
The guards would make us fight right there.
Just for fun?
No, well, he did it like strategically, and it worked, I guess, because instead of having drama and stuff, whatever, they would just fight right there, and then after that, that's it. And then it's
you
over
mean
with.
one versus one, not the...
one versus, like me and my enemy. We'll fight, boom, 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 and then that's it. All right, you guys fought, and then...
But you fight with the fists?
With
No
our
knife,
fists.
nothing?
No, just with our fists. So
you knock the guy out, that's it?
Yeah, until whatever two guys are done, whatever, when somebody wins or whatever, you'll fight, boom, 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 and then after that, there won't be no problems because you already, you know what I'm saying? You
Settled.
already handled it. Yeah, you guys could both say, I fought when my enemy was here, I fought him, or whatever. So it was kind of good because there wasn't no problems after that. They would just fight that day, and then after that, they lived together or whatever. Like there would be no problems. So I guess it kind of technically would work, but it would be like that. So it was always like that. And then when I went up to the youth authority, it was crazy, man. Like even the staff right there too, man. Like when I was first coming in, my first day, right, there's like 10 of us. I'm walking in, and then like there's the whole yard. There's a bunch of dudes. Like you see hundreds of guys right there, and I'm right there standing, just waiting to come into the unit, and I just hear, F Puente. It's one of my, so I'm like, whoa, that's my gang. They just like, I look and I just see like hundreds of guys. So I'm like, man, who said that? But I'm thinking in my head, man, how do they already know where I'm from? I just barely got here. Like, how do they already know? And I was a little scrawny little kid. I was 16, real so skinny little kid. So I'm like, dang. So then I come in the day room, and the staff's right there all corrupt, man. They're telling us all evil, mean things. They're like, you guys do anything, we'll let guys go in your cells and be getting you guys and this and that. They're telling us so mean things, eh? Like, we'll beat you guys up. And I'm telling you, they're frightened. Like, they're telling us the most ugly things that, like, you know what I mean? You're thinking the staff's supposed to protect you or whatever like that. They're literally telling us the most ugly, evil things, like I said, that they're gonna let guys go in our room and be getting
Yeah, but
us.
why? So you behave?
So I guess so we'd behave. Yeah. So they're telling, yeah. So I guess so we'd behave. Like, if you guys do anything, this and that. Yeah, I guess now it was so we would behave to scare us, so we wouldn't do nothing. And then, so it was like that. And then I'm in the hallway, and it's like a long tier like that, and like it's all scary. And I'm right there, and I'm standing in the hallway. And there's big old guys in the cell doors, but they're in the doors and they're throwing kisses at me. And they're big, and they're big black guys too. And I was a little skinny little kid like that, and they're blowing kisses at me, and they're telling me, we're gonna get you, and like that. So I was a little skinny little kid, but I was like a chihuahua. When I would get scared, my mouth would start going off. So they're blowing kisses at me, and like I got scared. So I was like, what? F you guys. So I started talking crap to them. I said, do that when you're outside the door. I'll fire on you, eh? Try to throw a kiss at me. See what happens. See what happens when you're outside the door. Watch what and they were like, what, little kid, we're gonna get you. So I was like, whatever, we'll see, whatever. But I guess they were just testing me.
Yes.
Because they never did nothing. They never told me nothing where, but I guess they were seeing how far I was gonna, but I was telling them, what? I'll sock you, I'll hit you if you do that. Like, I was telling them. And then, so that was my first day, bro. It was just all, and then so, as soon as I get it, my first night, and then, so I go in my cell. Imagine, bro, they walk me all the way down to the last cell, right? And they put the key in, so it's a lock right there, and there's a big bolt on the top, on the bottom. I come in the cell, and they shut the door behind me, and I hear this, a big old black guy comes up. Imagine, he's a black guy, and his name is Too Tall. So a black guy that's named Too Tall. He was so big, right? And he has like a bunch of like things in his hair like that, and he's all big, and even has a beard. And I'm a little kid, 16 years old, and he's in there for murder on a cop, attempted murders and all that. So he gets up, and then he's like, you better not be a dirty little S. He was a Blood from Bounty Hunter, Blood, Watts. So, and I was like, I ain't. He said, you better not be a dirty little essay. And I tell him I ain't, and I put my stuff on my bunk. But he ended up, that was the Lord, he ended up saving me, because, so then I'm right there, and then all the guys are all bratty kids out the windows. So that everybody, where are you from? Right away, the new guys. So I tell them, Puente. And then one of my enemies, what? He disses my neighbor. So I'm like, what? I diss his. He's like, all right, I'm gonna get you, this and that. So I'm like, whatever. And then, so I go in the shower, so like a couple hours later, I go in the shower, I'm butt naked. There's like 4 guys, we're in the shower, and I'm a little kid, like I say, and that dude runs up on me with a shank in the shower, and he runs up on me like that, what's up? And he has the, like, right here, like close, like so close, like almost gonna like stabbing me already. He has the knife like right there, and he's like, what's up, hey, what were you saying? Because I told you I dissed him out the window. And he told me, I'm gonna get you. So I was like, what? So what, or whatever. So he was like, so what's up, hey, what were you saying? And I was like, ugh. I got scared, and then there's the wall, the shower wall. So I get backed up to the wall, and I was like, oh man. And he has it on me like that. And he was big. He had like size muscles and stuff, and I was a scrawny little kid. And he has the shank on me, and he's like, what's up? And at first I was scared, but then I told him, what's up? Go ahead, what's up? I ain't scared, go ahead, stab me then. And then like, whoa, it caught him off guard. He didn't expect that. He was like, it like stopped him in his tracks. He was like, what am I gonna do now? And I was like, what's up? I ain't scared, stab me, what's up? I don't care, what's up? And then he was just like, F you, and he walked away. Like, he was just like, F you. And he walked away, so all the guys in the shower were laughing at him. They were like, that little kid ain't scared of you. He ain't scared. But I was scared, but that was just my first day. But it was like, it was just getting worse. Like every day it was where my friend. Then when I first, like, just telling you, it was so bad right there. And then when I went up to, they finally sent me up north to Preston, and it was like a straight dungeon. So scary place up there. It was a war zone up there. My first day there, riot. We got rushed in the dorm. We got rushed, riot, tear gas. And then they sent me into the hole right there, and it looks like a straight, so scary dungeon. And it was all my enemies, those guys I told you from Northern California. Yes. It was all full of them. So I didn't know if there was like 9 of us. I was like, I don't know if it was us 9 are the only ones here in this whole institution, because it sounded like hundreds of them. And they were all big, older guys and all that. They're talking crap all night out the windows. They're like, yeah, we're gonna get you. And we had just, my first day there, riot. They rushed us, riot. They tear gassed us, the cops and all that. They take me to the hole, and I'm in the hole, and it's all scary. And there's all hundreds of guys talking a bunch of crap and out the window saying, we're gonna get you. So I was like, man, where did they send me to, man? Where did they send me? So long story short, by the time I got out of that place, I was institutionalized. I was all crazy, maniac. That's why when people know in those days, when somebody went to the youth authority,
yes,
when they got to the streets, everybody was scared of them. They're like, and we were different. Like, we were like maniacs. Like, people on the streets aren't used to that. Like I'm saying, anybody said a wrong word to me or anything, boom, I'll just hit
anger.
Them, boom. Like, I'll just won't even say a word, or I'll just what? Just hit them, boom, just being like that. So everybody's like, whoa, people on the streets ain't used to seeing, and we'll just see them like on sight. Like, if I see a guy, I'm gonna rush him, boom, get him. Like, as soon as my eyes set sight on him, I'm gonna get him. That's how we were like that. So when people on the streets ain't used to that, they're not used to seeing guys from prison like that. So when I got out being like that, I was all crazy. And then I was, like I said, when I went in there, I was a gang member, but I was still a normal little 16-year-old kid and all that. But when I got out, I was a maniac, like all crazy. And then even doing more shootings, wanted to do more shootings and all crazy like that. So that's why I ended up being the main guy for my gang at that time.
So prison changes people right away.
It changed me bad.
Did you respect your life at all at that point? You didn't care about it at all?
I didn't care about it at all, because when I went in there, I had my girlfriend. I was like, my first love, you know what I mean? We divergenized each other, and I had a daughter. Well, she was pregnant. When I went to jail, she was pregnant, so I was all in love with her. That was like my first love of my life. Think about your
You were
first
16?
love. 16.
And she was?
She was like 16 too, 15, 16, same as me. But she was pregnant, and like I had a lot of love. I was in love with her. That was my first love. And so she left me when I was in jail doing all this time. So I got off even more crazy. That even too made me like more crazy too, because I was like mad at the world because she left me and all like that. So
when did you get to prison next time? For what?
I got violated like a few times. I got one was because of her. I did a year violation. One of the times is because when I got out, I wanted to see my daughter, right? So she's like, no, you can't see your daughter. She's like, I'll let you see her one time, but then I'll meet you at the police station and you have to sign over all your rights to your daughter. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And then she's like, I'll take you to court. And then she's like, go ahead, I'll tell them that you're a gang member and all that. You're gonna lose at court. So I was like, all right, whatever. So me and her were talking, and then her boyfriend got on the phone. And like I said, so me and him started arguing on the phone. And I told him, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing on the phone. When I see you, we'll see what's up then. When I see you, I'm not gonna be talking on the phone. When I see you, we'll see what happens then. And I guess he got scared. So he was like, what? I get crazy on the phone. But I guess he got scared because, so then I went and I caught one of his homeboys, right? And I was going to get his homeboy. I was going to get him. And then he was like, no, that's between you guys and that girl. I have nothing to do with this. And basically begging me, like, please leave me alone and all that. So I said, okay, I'm going to let you go. But let him know I'm out now. And when I catch him, he got something coming. When I see him, man, I'm going to let you go just so you can tell him that I got and I was working. So I got out and I was working. And then my PO calls me and he tells me, I need you to come in and this and that. So I go to my parole office. And as soon as I go in there, he handcuffs me, takes me back to the youth authority. And he took me to YTS. It's in Ontario. That's one of the craziest ones there is. He took me straight to the hole right there at YTS. And I'm like, why are you arresting me?
Yeah.
And he's we got you on another charge. That's all you need to know. So I'm like, what the heck? So I'm in there for like a week. And then I get my paperwork. I got violated because my ex, and I guess when I got his homeboy like that and all, I guess they told him, hey, Jesse got me, and he said he's gonna get you, and whatever. So they got scared, so they called my PO and told them that I was threatening them. So I got violated, bro. I got a year violation because of that, because I was wanting to see my daughter. They lied, and they were saying all kinds of lies and this and that. And then even that was messed up because even like you're telling you all those other stories and all that, that is even nothing. There's the craziest place. It was called Chad. It was like there's a bunch of YA institutions, but like all the craziest guys from all the most craziest from all the institutions, they sent them all to this one place. And that's the crazy, where all the crazies are at.
Where's that? Here in Cali?
It's in Stockton, California, up north.
Yes.
So that's their area. Remember I told you my enemies and areas up north. So it's their area. And it's where all the craziest is. Right? It's a crazy old place. They sent me there. They sent me to that crazy old place for a year just because I was trying to see my daughter and all that. So that place was even so crazy. I'm telling you, like every day I would make it back to my cell. I'll be like, phew, I made it. I made it another day in here. Like every day it was like a struggle to be in there. And so I'm like, man, I'm in here doing a year. And I was working, and I was even dating a girl. She was a college girl. I was working. So I was trying to do good. But because I got into it, because I wanted to see my daughter, I did a year. So I'm like, man, I'm here in this crazy old place doing a year because I wanted to see my daughter. So,
but honestly, what would you do if you met the guy? Beat the shit out of him?
That, or probably, because he was a big old dude though. I would have probably tried, or I would have rushed him on sight if I had nothing. But if I had a gun or something, I probably would have shot at him.
How did the second term change you? Even worse? You became more angry?
Got busted. Yeah, I got a couple, like two little, I got that year violation, and I got another little stupid little violation for a few months. And then I was out for like a year. And that's when I was the longest I was out. And that's when I was like the man around my gang, because and then I used to get a lot of girls back in those days. I had a lot of girls, and I was just like a ghetto superstar around my hood because I was all crazy. I had the respect, and I was doing all the shootings, and just every way I was like a ghetto superstar at that time. And then I got busted for another shooting. And that's when I got saved and all that kind of stuff.
So at that moment, have you ever asked like the universe, the God, somewhat bigger than you, why it's happening to you? Or you never asked that question at that moment?
I never asked nothing like that. But I remember, that was asked your question earlier, I remember my father, when I was out during that year and I was running amok, right? My parents would never even see me. I would be gone for days, and then I would just come home, shower, and maybe sleep, whatever, and then I would leave again for days. And then my mom would probably open my drawer, there'd be guns, drugs, right there. Like, they knew I was all bad. So one day my father asked me, he was like, Ace, what's up? What's going on with you, son? Like, what's your plan, or what are you doing, or what? because he seen I was doing all bad. And first he grabbed my arm. He grabbed my arm and he lifted up my shirt. To look at my arm. I guess he thought I was slamming heroin or drugs because I was just gone. Like I said, I would be gone for days. And so my dad gets my arms and he lifts up my sleeves and he looks. And I was like, nah, I don't slam heroin and all that. And that's when he told me, he's, well, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What's your plan and all that? And I told him, you know what? I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. I told him, so don't worry about me. I'm telling you right now, I'm either gonna end up dead or in jail. So then my dad was like, okay, since you told me that, I'm not gonna tell you nothing no more. You do whatever you're gonna do and all that. Yeah, he's like, do whatever you're gonna do. Since now that you told me that, then you're just gonna do what you're gonna do. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. And then it would have happened because I got shot.
Yeah, but getting back to that moment when the dad told you that he's not gonna do anything, were you expecting for him to step up and do something deep inside of you?
Maybe, or I don't know. I never thought about that. Maybe I was thinking, but I was so crazy, and that at that time. Like I said, and I was that's when I was out of jail, out of those crazy old places. I was all institutionalized crazy. So, I don't know, I just told him that. I didn't think about it. What if, I just told him the truth, that I'm either gonna die and like I said, it almost happened because I got shot and paralyzed and I almost died.
But ideally, what your dad had to do back then, to take all your family and move out of the city?
And they did. Well, because and then when I went to jail that last term, well, even then, when I paroled, he was living outside, so it was good. So I was away from my gang, a little ways, like a half-hour drive, you know what I mean? Like Ontario, you know what I mean? So, it was a little away from my neighborhood, so that's why I was doing a little bit better, working. But then I would go to my hood, you know what I mean? But then when I went to prison the last time, my parents moved way up to like Victorville, so it was like an hour away. So they moved, so I was doing pretty good. Like when I got out the last time, and that's when I had found the Lord, kind of, you know what I mean, and all that. So, I was doing good, but I just ended up getting caught up with the guy over there.
Let's say you were in your father's shoes, what would you do? At that moment when your son tells you that either I'm gonna end up in jail or dead.
But nowadays, because my dad, he didn't know the Lord or nothing. Now I would know the Lord and all that, so I would try to tell him all about the Lord and things like that. Yeah,
but let's take the same circumstance. You're in the shoes of your father, and your kid tells you this.
I would have did like how he did, try to move him out of there, like move away from the gang, you know what I mean? I would have moved, I would have told my wife, hey, we got to move far away from that gang as possible. I would have did that. Or maybe try to talk to him, tell them, be smart out there, or try to give him some tips, like, you know what I mean?
Do you think a lot of gang members can be saved but just if dad would show up and be in the family, be present?
Well, yeah, maybe a lot of it is true, but that wasn't true for mine because my dad was present and he was good and he worked.
But you slipped, somewhere you slipped.
It's because my family. And then too, like I said, my family was all gang related, so it wasn't even so much, a little bit him at the beginning, but then like later, like I said, he wasn't into that no more, but my cousins were, and I had cousins near my age, and I was real close with my cousins and all that, and then what had happened too was, like all the little kids, like I said, because we used to be into sports when I was young, football, baseball, basketball, all that, so all the little kids in my area that we used to play football with and all that, they all got into the gang too at that same time. So it was like a good crop. Like even too when I used to be in school, junior high and high school, like all the bratty kids, like all the best fighters in the school and all that, they all got into the gang. And like all the kids,
I got you.
My neighborhood, they all got it. So all my friends got into the gang. So it was like the popular thing. And then that's when that movie Colors had came out about gang movies. So it was like real, but that's when the gangster rap started coming out and all that kind of stuff. So at that time, the gang like was popular, especially all the girls loved the gang lifestyle.
But they had daddy issues as well, those girls. If they like the gang members.
They just like bad boys, I guess. I don't know. Because I used to say, even back in the days, I used to say that if they want to ever end up gang lives, it would be the women. If the women said, we're going to stop being with gang members, then gangs would stop. Because that's what was a lot doing, was because the girls, like, you know what I mean? The girls liked it. Gang guys in those days. I don't know about how it is now.
They controlled sex just like they do right now. You control relationship, they control sex.
Like I said, I never had no girls before a gang. I got in the gang, and then I started having
And nothing
a lot of
changed,
girls.
just you became a gang member.
And then all of a sudden, then I started getting a lot of girls.
How's your relationship with your daughter?
It's right. I met her, but I didn't get to meet her till she was 18. Because remember I told you she got me violated a year?
Yes.
So then when I got out, I was like, I'm going to wait till I get off parole to see her, because she could just have me again. She just had me arrested again anytime I'm on parole. So I'm like, I'm going to have to wait till I get off parole to try to see her. And then so I waited that, and then I got shot and paralyzed. So then I was going, and then I got married. And so like, I was still on parole and all that too, and I got shot and all that. So when I got shot, and I was learning through my paralyzed and just all that. So even more years went by, and then I found her on MySpace. That's when there used to be MySpace.
Yes, I remember.
I looked her up, and I found my daughter on MySpace. So then she was probably like 15 or something. That's when so I went to court. So I found out where she lived, her address. So we served her mother with papers. So I took her to court to see her, and I lost at court. They told me that I had to wait till she was 18 to see her. So
What were their arguments?
They just said that
You're a bad person?
that she was already set in her life or whatever, that they didn't want me to come in and disrupt her life or whatever. That's what they said. So
Do you keep in touch with her right now?
Yeah,
She's 30-something, right?
Yeah, but she's deaf. So I can only text. I can't talk to her.
She was born that way?
Yeah, she's deaf.
How's she doing? All right?
She's good.